Geek Tank Radio, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Welcome, everyone. We are the Geek Patrol, and our microphones don't have a stun setting. Today, we're joining you from the final MidSouthCon planning meeting, where it's been unanimously decided that Alan Gilbreth will not be allowed to serve his famous glazed octopus in the con suite. You know, the apple in the mouth is the part that I don't like, Alan. It's just, it is not an attractive centerpiece. I'm glad they voted you down.
But it just wants to face hug you.
Anyway,
just get a little closer, Joe.
I don't know, man.
The egg-shaped thing.
Anyway, welcome to Geek Tank Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our buddy Max behind the glass. And returning guests, our pals Eric Groff and Danny Chamberlin, co-chairs of, what are you laughing at already, Brandon?
They didn't learn the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, gluttons for punishment. But MidSouthCon is back, you guys. Finally, we haven't seen it since 2019 because you guys fell at the worst possible time for the pandemic. You know, but you're back with a vengeance now, so we're excited, man. How you feeling, Danny?
I'm feeling great.
Okay, you look a little tired. I don't know. What about you, Eric? I mean. Okay. All right. I don't know. Is that mic working?
That mic is not running.
Sorry, Eric. You and Danny are going to have to share a mic. But, hey, guys, so let's just get this out there. March, I always say November, March 25th through 27th at the Clarion Hotel. MidSouthCon is back. I think, have you closed out ticket sale, pre-sales?
Yes, pre-registration closed last week.
Okay, so you can't order online, but you can get all the information, and then you can get tickets at the door. No, never fear, people. You can always do that.
Joe, you can't.
Yeah, I've already been. Blocked out. But no, we're going to be there. We'll be there. You know, we're hoping everybody will come say hello. We'll have Geek Tank Radio and Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention are sharing a booth because space is at a premium, I guess, and that's all Danny would give us. So yeah. But we'll be set up there. And so, guys, how are the plans going?
Well, at this point, if they weren't finished, we'd be in trouble.
So what you're telling me is you're in trouble.
No, we're ready to go. We're just waiting for Thursday.
Okay, so everything's ready to go because it is interesting when you're planning. There's always these things that fall through the cracks, or there's always that one thing that has to get printed up. But I mean, well, you guys have had 3 years to work on this. I feel like you better be ready, right? So,
you just want to keep peeling that scab, don't you, Joe?
I don't know, but what sort of? Well, I thought today would be a good idea to talk about convention life, maybe convention tips for people, and kind of painting a picture of what they're going to see at MidSouthCon this year, because it will look a little bit different. I know the gaming's going to be like in a big open area, right? So, and actually, in terms of square footage, I think it's actually increased, if I'm not mistaken.
I haven't actually measured it out, so I wouldn't be able to know.
Okay. Well, I did. I didn't bring my tape measure, but just in looking at it, it looks like it's going to be a pretty nice setup.
So you guys are going to be out in the main open.
Yeah, this hotel has a garden court style setup, and the entire garden court area is going to be gaming. And we also have some
That is a huge area. That's awesome.
And we also have some other rooms along the side that face the court that they'll have other games where they need a little bit more
okay,
quiet.
so
containment.
Right. Yeah, so gamers, if you're listening, they have lots of space. Get your tickets, come on out and play, because this is we've been in and out of that hotel for decades, honestly.
I thought you built that hotel, Alan.
I was actually on a crew that did one of the renovations back in the early 80s, yes.
Okay.
So I'm kind of familiar with that place. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, the first MidSouthCon there was in 1990.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I started coming to MidSouthCon back in the mid-'90s, and I feel like, you were back there around, 95? I think that was my first one. So it's very familiar territory for your attendees, I think. So, and it's spread out nicely because, there's a lot of what do you call that, Alan? White space, where you just want to get off your feet and chill out in a lobby or on a couch or something. And there is a lot of that. It's a good place to.
Yeah, they have a really large lobby.
Yeah. And so today, I guess what we're going to do is we're going to talk about MidSouthCon, and we're going to talk about convention tips. And because I feel like convention season is back, but it might still look different for a while. And, we always have new listeners that maybe they've never been to a convention, and we're going to try to push you over the edge and get you to your first convention because it's fun. We all love these things. And like we said last time, between us, what have we got? Oh, well over 100 or maybe 150 years of convention attending.
He looks right at me when he goes the numbers. So.
Well, Alan puts us over a century just by himself. So
I still think it's funny that Joe has the least amount of convention experience out of all of us.
I don't know. Is that true? You and I aren't all that
just
far
Max
off.
isn't old enough.
Well, Max doesn't count.
Yeah, Max doesn't count because he's the young. But no, Brandon, you and I are not that far off. I know you like to.
I have been working with tiny basement comic conventions and things like that since I was like 14.
Okay.
I'm 44 now. That's 30 years of me.
Okay. One thing we don't do here on Geek Tank Radio is we don't shame people, Brandon, about their fandom, about who's a bigger fan or who's a better geek.
I'm just saying, what I'm saying is you're less jaded than the rest of us.
Oh, okay. All right. That was a good pivot. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar Memphis. We're going to take a quick break and then talk about geek conventions.
Geek Tank Radio.
You are God!
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
That's about what the gaming room sounds like by Sunday afternoon. I mean, it gets intense, right?
Yeah, well,
Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth and our pals Danny Chamberlin and Eric Groff, who are co-chairs with MidSouthCon, and, of course, our buddy Max behind the glass. And, boy, today has been just an absolute train wreck. You guys cannot believe what goes on off the air at this place. That's when the magic happens, and thank goodness the microphones are off.
We made it through the first segment, and I will say that you probably spoke 91% of the time. So
not by choice.
Like I said, worst episode ever
so far. Well, hey guys, if you're new to if you're new to the Mid-South, maybe, or if you're new to convention life, let's face it. There's people that people are constantly moving to Memphis. And you're trying to get familiar with geek culture. Well, hey, we've got a fun outing for you next week. Next week is the 38th annual Mid-South-Con, and we've been looking forward to this. They've had to skip 2 years because of the pandemic, right? And you've been at all of them, Alan, all except one.
I missed one.
That's saying something.
That was back in the 90s somewhere. I was in Florida for the week of Mid-South-Con. But other than that, yeah, it's been in attendance.
Yeah,
I got a record going so far.
Yeah, you got a record.
So if you're into, I don't know. I mean, you guys are kind of all genres, right, Eric? It's science fiction, fantasy, superheroes. We've seen a lot of anime people showing up. It's wide ranging.
We started out as a literary convention built into a kind of what people consider to be a gaming convention, but we do cover anything geeky. We've probably got something for you.
Yeah, even the furries make a claim over there. So make a claim over there. So it's and everybody's welcome. And as we said, if you're new to geek conventions, maybe it's hard for you to even picture this. But I mean, everybody's seen like some of these shows or some of these cliches. It's cliche, but the one thing they never capture is just how much fun and how friendly everybody is and how intelligent.
Well, that's kind of the big point, Joe. All right, is this everything you've seen on comedy television? Is it every stereotype that has ever happened? Absolutely. Then when you get by the sticker shock and suddenly you sit down and realize that there's a conversation going on between two NASA PhDs in that corner. You got a Boba Fett over here that, oh, by the way, also owns an auto shop.
Yeah.
And then that's when the convention really comes to life. And what oddly happens is then you really can't wait for the next one. Because everybody you met at this one is going to go to the one in Birmingham. They're going to go to the one in Huntsville. Or we have another one coming up in Memphis in 4 to 6 months. And that is where I would have to say the con fellowship begins. Because a lot of people do meet at different conventions all the time. And then you kind of wind up on a little tour circuit. And you're kind of like, well, I can't wait until CoastCon comes back around or MidSouthCon. And I will have to say, MidSouthCon is an excellent entryway into this. This was a lot of people's first conventions. This has been one of those conventions where you really don't know who you're going to bump into in the hall, who you're going to meet. And I'm talking whether it's going to be a new friend, an old friend, or a celebrity on their way to something. This is a very informal light of on their way to the gaming room, on their way to a panel, on their way to one of the shows. Another big thing is, don't forget, Memphis is chock full of amazing talent, and the vendor room is an experience you need to have.
Huh. Funny you should mention that, because Danny, you guys do something that I don't know if everybody else does it. You, in addition to a vendor room and artists and people doing original art and commissions, you guys have this art auction as well, which I think you're the only ones in town that do that, right?
As far as I know, yes.
Yeah.
It's something we've been doing forever. I mean, it's the art show is so amazing. We get so many artists from all over the country that send us their art, and some of them come to show it off themselves. And then on Saturday, people write in, see something they want, put a bid on it. Then on Saturday, if the piece has enough bids, everyone gets to throw best man or most money wins.
You make it sound way more violent than it really is.
Oh, there's been no.
But I know there have been years.
Some of our guests of honor, Mitch Faust's pieces come up, and there's a scrum.
You get an SCA guy going up against a Klingon that really want that Mitch Faust original print. But that part is fun because it becomes, instead of the shopping experience is totally different than just going to, a big box store and buying something. For one thing, you're getting all this original stuff you won't find anywhere else. The shopping was the gateway that got my kids into conventions. I mean, they just wanted to buy.
To spend your money.
Yeah. Basically, I would take them to the convention. They would just go hang out in the vendor room. I would go do my thing. Eventually, they slowly sort of integrated into the convention. But honestly, if you have a spouse or somebody that's not even into this, just let them go shopping, and I guarantee you're going to hook them, because the shopping experience alone is great. And it's not just for geek stuff. It's jewelry. It's every stuff. It's jewelry. It's everything.
We're going to have leather workers. We got costumers, comic books, game supplies. If there's anything a geek could want, it's going to be in our dealer room.
Yeah. Well, but there, and I like the fact that if you buy something from somebody, if it's a jewelry or leather, you're meeting the person that actually made it.
You're meeting the person that made it, and a bonus, there's no shipping charges.
Huh. And just between us, I don't know if the IRS wants to know this. I don't know that it's always tax, or maybe the tax is included or something. Maybe I better shut my mouth. I don't know. It's a flat rate.
Yeah. It's a flat rate.
It's like buying gas. You get the taxes are in.
It's all included. That's all you need to know.
Max, cut this part out anyway. Well, Danny, what do we got in the lineup? Who's showing up at MidSouthCon this year? You always have a pretty healthy guest list. So.
Yep. This year, our author guest of honor is Megan McKee, and she's written the Lucky Devil series of urban adventure novels. We also have from Fermilab, we have one of the senior fellows there, Dr. Don Lincoln. We also have Bob Hall, who's most famous for creating the West Coast Adventures, which we will probably be seeing in the MCU sooner than later.
Right.
We also have special guest Mark Gunn. He's what they call a filker or funny music producer, and he has been with a group called the Brobdingnagian Bards. I think I pronounced that correctly.
I don't think you did, but go ahead. Bards, yeah.
Our artist guest of honor is Mitch Faust, who we've mentioned. He's a local artist, but brilliant work, and he's been a friend of the convention forever. And then our Toastmaster is John Jackson Miller. He is a New York Times best-selling Star Trek author and Star Wars author, among other things. And he's actually one of our homeboys. He's from Memphis, and he's been to school with some of us. And
he seems to know everybody. Yeah. He's got roots here.
I mean, not just here. He knows everybody.
That's true. He, when you talk to him, he drops a lot of names.
Yeah, he was former editor with Maggie Thompson on Comic Buyer's Guide, which if you collected comics in the 80s and 90s, you're familiar with that publication.
Oh, yeah.
As well as other. I think he did work with Scry, the Magic the Gathering book that came out in the 90s. So yes.
He's great. So he's the Toastmaster, but he'll also be set up with his book. So he'll be signing those.
He's got books. He will have books.
And if you're strategic, he's usually pretty good at keeping his mouth shut. But if you trick him, maybe if you get him drunk, you might get him to give away spoilers about what's coming up in the Star Wars universe and about Star Trek, because he's kind of in the know about some of this stuff. So if you can manipulate him somehow, you might get some inside information.
No, actually, he's pretty tight. He likes to keep his access. So yes, we won't know until it's released.
It's never worked, so I've tried. But,
I like how the Gryffindor is the one over here coming up with all the subterfuge.
Well, hey, Danny, at one of your conventions when you had, I think it might have been 2019. When did you guys have Mike Carlin? Was it 2018 or 2019? He's deeply involved with
since then. So
okay, well he's heavily involved with DC, and I got to talking with him at the bar, and he, without saying it, kind of gave me some hints about some of the projects that were coming up, and they proved to be completely true. So if you're a manipulative kind of evil person and you want to try to get people fired and get inside information, conventions are a great place to do that, right, Alan? I mean, you.
I like how he looks right at the Slytherin for that one.
You have to be careful because they will lie to you. Robert Jordan told me to my face that The Wheel of Time was only going to be 6 books.
His publisher went, you need at least 6 more, and you got 1 more kid in college. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. They will play you, but that's the fun part. You don't get those conversations on Twitter, or whatever. This only happens in person. Well, we know the sewer that you go down in Twitter, Brandon.
It's true. I cause trouble.
But real quick, before we go to break, how do people find out more about MidSouthCon, Danny?
They can go to midsouthcon.org.
Okay.
And there'll be information on it. And if you have any questions, you can email us at info@midsouthcon.org.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I've been jonesing to get to MidSouthCon. It's funny. Normally, time goes really fast, and but the weeks leading up to MidSouthCon have just kind of crawled along for me. I don't know,
because you wanted it so bad.
I really missed you guys. I'm glad you're back, and it plus, as we said, Brandon, it's always nice to watch other people scrambling and working hard when we can just sit back and
That's okay. In a few months, they get to watch us do it too.
Yeah.
It's that misery loves company, and the fact that you also get to look around and go, not my circus. Those are not my monkeys.
Yeah. Well, can't say that here. Can't say that about Geek Tank Radio. You're fully involved here, and you're stuck with us. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
Wait, are you saying there's a final fight full of CGI where the hero fights a bad guy who has similar powers? Yeah, I guess so. Now that is a Marvel third act. I love it.
News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
Can't really disagree with that, but
just summed up the last 25 years of our lives.
Anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. Yeah, where we speak the uncomfortable truths of geekdom. I'm Joe Thorderson, here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth, and our buddy Max behind the glass, and our friends Eric Groff and Danny Chamberlin, who are co-chairs of MidSouthCon, which is coming up next week. Boy, am I excited.
You really just like saying that word, co-chair.
Yeah, well, I think it's kind of funny because
I think it's because you've shed the chairman title, and you don't have to worry about it anywore.
Well, anyway, I don't want to get into the political structure of MidSouthCon and their organizational flow chart.
I was trying to talk about ours.
Yeah. Well, hey, guys, so they're coming up next week. It's going to be a Friday through Sunday deal, March 25th through 27th. And off the air, we were talking, we feel, like we said, we've got years of convention experience between us, and for people that are new to conventions, or maybe it's just our time for public service announcements on how to make the convention more enjoyable for everybody, and also to not be that person that everybody's going to be talking about when the weekend's over because you were annoying or something. But Brandon, there's something we have to dance around this a little bit, but there's a dynamic.
Here's the thing: we're going into MidSouthCon next weekend.
Yeah.
I work for MCFC, therefore I can be the bad guy so that the MidSouthCon guys don't have to.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about con etiquette.
Okay.
And now I know that
let's start with soap.
Let's start with your hygiene.
Yeah. Okay.
Guys, I know that you want to play Settlers of Catan until Sunday evening.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't going to be that harsh, but yeah, you're right. Yeah.
No, I mean, I have been that gamer who's been so intense into something, and it's like I realize halfway through it, I'm sweating bullets basically, and it's
or
not,
you've been doing this for 12 hours straight.
It's not nice to the people that are there. And if you're playing with somebody else's board game, you don't need to be sweating all over it.
Right.
Especially with us coming off of, I mean, as much as we hate to say it, the pandemic's not over yet.
No.
Be very careful about that. But what I want to talk about is, for the vendors and everybody else, I work fan tables. I have for years, and I love talking to everybody, but we have a problem called booth barnacles. And these are people who you get into a conversation with, and you basically have to scrape them off the table because you've got people starting to line up. And it's not as bad with people like, if I'm running a fan table, I'm promoting a Geek Tank Radio. My job is to sit here and talk to you guys. But if you've got a vendor who's trying to conduct business and you want to ask them every question under the sun, these guys they'll have panels. A lot of them will walk away from the table to get, to converse with you while other people work it. It is courteous to both the vendor as well as other people at the con if you just kind of stick and move.
Yeah, or at least just stay out of the way. If you're shopping, that's fine, but don't stop the person every 3 seconds to ask them a question. But Booth Barnacle, I think our buddy Yvonne Williams from Back to Earth came up with that one.
She's the one who gave us that title.
But it is a problem at conventions, and I think, like you say, you might just be really in fairness, Brandon, I will say, I think it comes about through excitement. People, it's not to be rude. No. They're just very excited, and they don't realize they've been talking for 20 minutes straight.
I've never realized. I've never even considered the fact that they're being rude on purpose, or they're trying to monopolize your time on purpose. But it is just it kind of gets away from you.
Yeah,
and especially if one of us is in the midst of the conversation with you, and we get excited too. And then you've got people who are, they want to know something about the where your art or anything like that, and they're kind of getting ignored. And this is a big family thing. I mean, I will admit that I was a MidSouthCon volunteer, and then eventually worked with the gaming department, and then worked with programming and media, and I kind of got sniped by Joe to work MCFC.
You volunteered. Don't start a civil war in this room here.
No,
so, yeah.
Joe, love you to death, man. But
yeah,
you offered me something that MidSouthCon, was it was a chance to do something different.
Okay.
And I love working at MidSouthCon, but it did get to the point where I couldn't do both. And I know that MidSouthCon was in good hands. I wasn't really sure about some of the people we were working with at MCFC.
Okay, I don't know how we got off on that, but okay. So don't be a booth barnacle.
Don't be a booth barnacle.
Here's another thing, and
I was talking about the family aspect of it.
Okay.
There's a lot of us who can answer questions for you who have been going to MidSouthCon for 1,000 years. So if you see Danny and he looks exhausted, maybe give him a chance to relax for a minute, because they are putting on a show, and it's a lot of hard work, and we love doing these things. But when you're getting pulled in 14 different directions, maybe it's better to grab somebody who's got a volunteer badge and ask them the question.
Funny you say that, because Danny, I'm looking at you and I'm looking at Eric too. You guys know this very well. Sometimes people forget that you are not the only two guys running the convention. That there's actually other people that can help them. Because I've run into this. People say, hey, where is the such and such? Where's the vending machine? Where's the whatever? And it's like, well, there's a lot of other people that could have helped you with this. So do you get that a lot, Danny? They don't want to talk to your volunteers or to the other people?
It's gotten a lot better. It used to be like that, but it's gotten a lot better. They, of course, all of our staff will be marked staff. They'll have ribbons on their badges for staff, and people have learned to go look for those. If they see a ribbon, they should be able to ask a question, and if that person can answer, they will go find the answer for you.
Right. Yeah, you got a big team. I mean, you've got people in charge of gaming, you got people in charge of the con suite, in charge of the vendor room. So yeah, there's the way I look at it, by the time the convention started, you and Eric have kind of done your job. You should sort of chill out, which I know doesn't happen, right? I mean, In theory, but
in theory, yes. Where is to hide the sausage making.
There you go. You made Alan stay just by bringing that up.
All right.
But no, I will say this. I have worked with multiple conventions, and I don't think anybody, and I hate if this seems rude to anybody else that I've worked with on other things. I don't think anybody gets it like you guys do. The fact that you need to separate things into stuff. I've seen too many people. Even with ours, where you take on too much.
Yeah.
But you guys have an amazing staff that really does put in the effort to make sure that it goes as smoothly as humanly possible. The problem is that when you've got humans involved, it can't go perfectly. But you guys do put on a really good show.
Yeah, but you made a good point, Brandon. Okay, part of the
He's always
excitement,
surprised.
Well, no, but you just made me think of something. I think we talked about this a while back with Ned Canty. This is okay. It's a live event and like a live play or a live concert. There may be little things that maybe don't go right, but that's what kind of makes it exciting. Like if you're,
you have to be flexible. You have to absolutely be flexible.
It's like a living organism, and it's it's going to do what it wants. And it's funny how each year the convention, there's always those stories that come out of a convention. And they're the legends that come out of a convention and myths, and that's what I like.
Is everybody, Brandon? Why are you looking at me like that?
Because you've caused most of the trouble. Somewhere down the line, even if it's not you, somewhere you're involved.
I as a horrible thing, MidSouthCon made a big deal of pointing that out to me the year I was the Toastmaster. Is that Eric's back here?
Which year? You've been several times, right?
No, I've only been the Toastmaster once.
Oh, okay.
And that was enough.
You got voted out, yeah.
No, we actually had a wonderful year, but it is amazing how some of us have been around for a while, how intertwined we get. Even like the volunteers from convention to convention. Memphis has at least 4 conventions on a steady basis. And pretty much we all know each other. We've all met. We've all been to each other's conventions. We all know, there was that year at 2 o'clock in the morning, or there was that year at 8 in the morning, or there was that year when the truck showed up at, 5 in the afternoon that was supposed to have been there at 5 in the morning. And, we all have the legends and stories. And that's a lot of fun on a Saturday evening to sit down with people like us and go, so what happened that year? And go,
And I would even say it's fun to be a part of something where things don't go perfectly, because that's what gives you the stories. I remember one convention, one MidSouthCon, you'll remember this, Brandon, when the escalator kept breaking. And they started a pool. They started a betting pool on how many times it would stop over the weekend. And I think it was up
more
to
than 1 year.
I won $45 off that pool.
Yeah, you kick in money, and suddenly something that should be annoying turns into something pretty fun and exciting. So
that escalator didn't break once a year; it broke like 5 times a day every year.
Yeah,
until they just tore the whole thing out.
It's gone now, though. But that's the stuff. I mean, that's part of convention culture is watching the sausage get made. Sorry, but it's cool. So we'll probably unpack that a little bit when we come back. You're listening to Geek Tank Radio here on News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis. We'll be right back.
Geek Tank Radio.
My son returns from a fancy East Coast college, and I'm horrified to find he's a nerd.
News Talk 98.9 The Roar of Memphis.
Hey, they pay the bills. I mean, we want those guys there. So anyway, welcome back to Geek Tank Radio. I'm Joe Thorderson here with my friends Brandon Olmstead and Alan Gilbreth, and our buddy Max behind the glass, and our friends Eric Groff and Danny Chamberlin, who are co-chairs for MidSouthCon. MidSouthCon 38 is coming up. It's if you're keeping score, it should have been 40.
40 years of MidSouthCon.
And if you're keeping even longer score, I suppose you could say you've been doing MidSouthCon for 41 years, because there was a year somehow it didn't happen, right? I mean, MidSouthCon had a year off because of some, people don't realize it's a lot of work to put on a convention, and sometimes venues have some issue or something happens, and I
don't remember exactly which year it was, but it was the Grand Hotel who got a better bid and canceled us a week before. That's why we didn't have it that year.
Wow. Are we going to get in litigation here with that? But no,
that's a fact.
You're right. We won't name names, but you get into issues where somebody does something, it may be in breach of contract or whatever. It's a pretty big deal putting on a convention. And I mean, you gotta be made of a certain, I don't know what, Now that I think of it, why would anybody do this?
I'll say it though. You become tempered for this kind of life that first year where you have someone breach contract and you have to scramble.
Yeah. And we've learned about it.
If you can make it through that, you're good.
Yeah.
And if they don't realize,
where's the grant?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So, well,
a friend of mine introduced me to a phrase a while back. It was just ramjack. It was just a phrase they used, and I finally went, all right, what is it? And they went, relax, it's just a con.
That's good advice. You know, I hate to say it. Alan, you gave us, you mentioned that to me, I think the first year of the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention.
You were losing your mind, yes.
It is good advice. It's just a con. As long as you don't burn the place down and nobody dies, it's
pretty close. You didn't die the first year. We were concerned about that.
He almost did, but that had nothing to do with the con.
I know,
that had to do with
but he
poison
shows up
ivy
looking
in the
like
eyes.
he lost a bet in a Frankenstein movie. So...
Well, do you guys ever find that where you're getting so wrapped up in all the preparations and all it, and it can be stressful if you don't have the right type of temperament. Danny, you're about as laid back as anybody I know, so you don't. I'm not really looking at you on that, but Eric, do you ever get to where you've got to go like I don't know, punch a wall or do something to kind of?
You would be surprised.
Yeah.
I haven't actually gotten a chance to enjoy MidSouthCon in 20 years.
Really?
I just work.
I think that's your own. Okay, well. Eric, I think you've got to maybe go to a psychiatrist or something, or whatever.
No, he's not the one who.
Okay, but I mean, it's just it takes a special personality to do this. That's the truth. It's like I don't care what size your convention is. It's a lot of work, and you are not going to become a millionaire unless maybe I guess maybe the guy's running. Comic-Con New York or something, but it's you got to go into this because you care about this, and you're a fan.
The only people who get rich off of New York Comic-Con is the Javits Center.
Yeah, that's a good point. The people that rent the venue to you are the ones making the money. So.
When you're in a gold rush, be the guy selling the gold pans. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. So, but the convention culture is exciting, and you do make. You meet people that you form these lifelong friendships. You realize, gosh, I've known this person for 20-something years. And it might even be just that you see them a few times a year at different conventions. But then again, if you think about it, there's times where you have friends, you probably see them less than that. So this is like appointment friendship, you could say.
In a lot of ways, it is plannable. And the other thing about attending a convention is you are actually planning your time off.
Yeah.
As a convention attendee or even as a vendor. If you are set up and, this is a scheduled amount of time. I'm going to go to MidSouthCon and I'm going to be there. I'm going to get there Thursday evening. I'm going to have a nice quiet night at the hotel so I'm all rested and happy. And then Friday, you have the ramp up. Everybody kind of starts arriving, and it's a little bit of a trickle at first, and it's a great time. If you want that really serious private time in the vendor room, or you really want to get your gaming stuff set up, the trickle in on Friday is good. Saturday, buckle up, wear your roller skates, bring your red cape, put your fireman's hat on. It's on.
Yeah.
Now, I will throw in, as a personal hoorah to MidSouthCon, they have an amazing masquerade. So they have a wonderful centerpiece to their Saturday evening, which is basically kind of free-range entertainment wrapped around a cosplay contest.
Yeah, that's only part of it, isn't it? I mean,
and that's just one piece of it. But this is, as far as, paid entertainment that you went and saw a show for $40 or $50 or $60, this is just as much fun. This is just as funny. This is, and many times, a lot more entertaining because you just don't know what's going to happen. Welcome to live stage.
That's what I love about the convention experience anyway, is just there's this sense of spontaneity where something might just happen. You don't know what it might be, but it's, it's exciting. So
I'm trying, 'cause we're too close. We're never this close. So I know your peripheral vision sucks. All right, Eric, Danny, while we have you here and we're coming to the end of the show, I've always wanted to ask you guys this on the air. If there was there's one thing that you could just get away with, money's not an issue, what would you like to do new with MidSouthCon?
Huh. Okay.
Because tradition's great, and I love it in every form that it is now. But I'd like to see what you guys would bring to the table.
I love the look that just passed between the two of them. It was amazing.
Well, it's kind of thinking out. Yeah, I mean, because money is always a factor, right?
Yeah,
So, I mean,
it's taking the shackles off and it opens the pool so wide. I think if I had to do, I'd like to do a lot more virtual type entertainment.
Okay.
Have a virtual VR studio set up. Have some other advanced virtual panels and things like that.
huh.
Combined hybrid panels, gaming.
Kind of bring more of the technology edge to it. Okay.
I think that's coming soon. So, yeah.
I personally love MidSouthCon exactly like it is.
Right.
We're a mess, but we're a family, and every single thing that we do is what we want to do. If we wanted to do more things, we do those things. Yeah. And we continue to do that. I mean, would it be nice to be able to have more money to do more of that even better? Sure. But at the same time.
See, I was hoping your answer would be to actually get a chance to, just relax and, go with it, and where you're not working the entire weekend.
I've been doing this for 26 years, man.
Well, right. It's time for you to get at least one day of break.
Yeah.
We'll work it out. We got another con to put on, and it's just going to be what it is. I don't hate it. It doesn't make me mad. It's just how it works. I just work.
I don't know, Eric. I've seen you at conventions. I think you're actually having fun, whether you want to admit it or not. I've seen, maybe because you're just in your element.
I didn't say I wasn't having fun. I was saying that I haven't gotten a chance to just sit back and enjoy
the
it.
con.
Oh, well, that's never going to happen. We know that. Yeah.
Right. No, I have fun by Jimmy.
Yeah.
I'll make you have fun too, my friend.
There you go.
There's a reason my badge name is Mr. Fix-It.
Right.
See, to me, the one thing that probably you should take more advantage of is the fact that everybody's running around in costume. Why don't you guys just put a big mask on or do the whole, disguise thing? Then you could just have people leave you alone.
What am I supposed to be, Adam Savage? Come on, man.
well, Mermaid Man will probably be there Saturday.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm talking about a boring, discreet costume, and you don't want to see Danny in his mermaid man costume.
No, Danny and I have history with him in his costumes.
Wow.
Oh, the number of times at me, and then I make the mistake of looking up towards the back of the room, and my dear friend Danny is. I don't know. I think the one that got me the most was I think it was like a zombie Lego person.
Yes.
That was like your crowning glory that year.
Yeah.
Danny
to
goes
see
for
if he could
shock and
crack
awe.
me up on stage.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
he's
a
all
personal fan of the Rambo one.
Oh yeah,
a Rambo Lego guy. Yeah, you're big into the Lego thing, but I don't know. It's exciting, and like you said, we don't know what's going to happen next week.
We're gonna have fun. That's what's gonna happen next week.
It is, and we really hope that y'all will show up there because it's stories for a lifetime, honestly, and it's just everybody. If you don't think you will be into this, I promise you will. Everybody enjoys it. So,
and one last thing I want to get in, we are while it is to have fun, we are also want to make sure that we are actually raising money for good causes. We have always been a big supporter of literacy, and we have part of our art auction will have a charity aspect, and we also have other avenues throughout the con, book sales and things like that for raising money for the various charities, Literacy Mid-South and the Science Fiction Writers of America.
That's awesome.
We're just having fun, and we're helping people at the same time.
that's a good point. You guys are way more charitable than us, so.
All right,
and also, the quick announcement: we are going to be broadcasting.
That's
from
the plan.
MidSouthCon, and so far, Tool Talk Radio from 8 to 10 in the morning, and then we'll be doing Geek Tank Radio live.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
So can I bring my lawnmower and have y'all fix it?
Yeah, I can take care of that for you.
As long as there aren't technical challenges, Alan, put a pin in that. I think we're supposed
we'll
be there.
To.
We'll be there regardless. So we'll have stuff for you to free sweat.
Guys, it's worth the ticket just to come and slap Joe upside the back of the head.
Well,
and slap Joe upside the back of the head.
Well, Roku Television's CC Entertainment Spotlight will also be there filming. So
that doesn't matter here. He didn't pay for this advertisement.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, but I did.
You haven't yet.
So, Danny, tell us once again, if people want to learn more about it, and I'm sure you got a Facebook page and everything, but how do they find out more about MidSouthCon?
Go to midsouthcon.org.
Okay.
And if you go to the registration page, even though it's closed, it'll have our prices for our full member at the door membership and single day memberships.
Cool. Yeah, because sometimes people, they want to go for the whole weekend, or maybe they just want to go for a Saturday or something. But check I would say this, folks, if you're contemplating just going for one day, check the programming schedule, because every day is different and there's just constant activity, and you don't want to miss out on on something you've been planning for. But guys, we can't wait, man. It's going to be I hope the week starts going faster. Time's been going at a snail's pace, next week, and it's going to be a blast. So, but guys, we're out of time, man. It's time to start wrapping things up, because the clock waits for no one. So until next week, we are the Geek Patrol, and I am Joe Thorderson.
I'm Alan Gilbreth.
I'm Eric Groff.
I'm Danny Chamberlin.
And for Max Behind the Glass, I'm Brandon Olmstead, and we hope to see you next week at MidSouthCon.